Welcome to today's PHTA weekly webinar on Wednesdays. My name is Adam Ketchmarchi, the Vice President of Educational Development at the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance, as always joined by my colleague Diana Bouts for today's webinar. Today is Pool Horizons, Why Swimming Pools Matter. Just a few reminders before we get started. Attendees can participate in today's webinar by using the question and answer and the chat function at the bottom of your screen. We'll get to as many attendee questions as possible before the end of today's webinar. PHTA and Genesis are excited to announce the launch of E211 fluid hydraulics for pools and spas, and our new pool math course are both available on our on-demand system. We are also have a number of Genesis offerings coming up at our upcoming Mastermind event that'll be held September 23rd to the 25th in Fort Lauderdale. You can go to phta.org and click on our Mastermind event to see all of the Genesis offerings as well as our conference information for that upcoming event. The Genesis Roadshow also kicks off again in November. We'll be offering C281 with BioLab in Georgia and E211 with Pentair in North Carolina. Both those courses are happening in November. You can go to phta.org/Genesis to learn more. And we do have webinars every Wednesday with PHTA. Next week, we will have a WAVE webinar, Building and Optimizing Your Digital Presence. 2 weeks from today, we'll have Handling Hard to Please Customers. And then on September 3rd, we have a special PHTA Service Council webinar, A Focused Approach to Swimming Pool Route Management. Let's get into today's topic. Chris Pound is here to talk about Pool Horizons. Christopher Pound is originally from Oxford in the United Kingdom and has been based in Barcelona since the late 1990s. As well his native English, he is fluent in Spanish and Catalan. With a background in international strategy, communication, and marketing, he has worked with companies from the USA, Spain, Germany, and Latin America. As coordinator of Pool Horizons, Chris spends most of his time actively engaging with the global swimming and swimming pool community, connecting with industry professionals, associations, educators, NGOs, and other individuals and organizations from across the global aquatic ecosystem. He has become a passionate advocate for the swimming pool sector's global dialogue and development. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Adam. And hello, everyone. Good morning or afternoon or evening or whatever it might be where you are. So thank you very much, Adam and Diana and Sabina and everyone else at the Pool and Hot Tub Association for inviting me to host this session. It's a pleasure and an honor. Just have a slight thing here that the screen is covering over my screen. There you go. As Adam says, my name is Christopher Pound. I'm originally from Oxford in England, but I live in Barcelona, where I am right now. I originally first came here for a few months to learn Spanish, and I'm still here 30 years later. When I arrived, I didn't realize the local language was, as Adam was saying, Catalan. But anyway, that's another story. And speaking of language, I hope you'll bear with my British English. There are some differences. In swimming pools, for example, in British English, we swim lengths, for example, not laps. And we have gardens, not backyards. So feel free to stop me at any time if you need a translation. Over the years, I've worked in all sorts of industries, as Adam was saying, from all around the world. I've worked in companies from sound systems to catering equipment to showers, taps. There you go. Another example, faucets, I think you call them in the US. But for the past 2 years, my focus has been on the swimming pool industry. And when I started, I knew almost nothing about the industry, but I've quickly come to appreciate its depth and its impact. Swimming pools, as you all know, enrich lives in countless ways, and that's a pretty inspiring reason, for me at least, to get up in the morning. As Adam says, I am the coordinator of Pool Horizons, and today in this webinar, I'll share our journey and hopefully challenge, motivate, and inspire you along the way. So what is Pool Horizons? Pool Horizons is a global open forum dedicated to promoting the positive contributions that swimming pools make to society. Pool Horizons was created in 2023, a couple of years ago, by some of the leaders of the swimming pool industry. The supervising committee is made up of the CEOs of Fluidra, Hayward, Pentair Pool, CF Group, and the PHTA. And the Pool Horizons community, over those 2 years, we've now grown to include companies, associations, NGOs, leaders of the swimming pool ecosystem from all across North and South America, Europe, Australia, and Asia. So we're pretty global now. Our mission is to provide thought leadership and factual insights on the societal, economic, and environmental value of swimming pools, shaping public discourse and industry growth. And our vision is a world that fully recognises and embraces the benefits of swimming pools in enhancing people's quality of life. And Pool Horizons exists because the swimming pool industry needs to talk about these things more. In the day-to-day business of design, construction, filters, cement, steel, lighting, chemicals, everything else, the bigger picture can get lost. Sometimes we need to pause and ask ourselves, why do swimming pools matter? Pools can be a place for quiet exercise, swimming lengths or laps, for water rehab, or high-energy sports like water polo and artistic swimming. Some are showpieces in a garden or backyard. Others are true community hubs where people gather, learn, and grow. What unites them is their power to make life better. They boost health, both physical and mental. They give people a safe place to learn to swim. They help build stronger, more connected communities. They can heal, challenge, entertain, or simply offer a moment of peace. And as technology moves forward, they're becoming more sustainable and efficient, meeting the needs of people and the planet. At their core, swimming pools reflect something universal: our connection to water, to each other, and to the kind of life we all want: healthy, joyful, inclusive, resilient. In today's world, where technology can keep us apart and cities sometimes forget our need for real shared spaces, pools, public and private, give us something precious: places that welcome everyone, that connect us, and that nurture both the individual and the community. So, if we agree that swimming pools matter because of their power to enhance lives physically, emotionally, socially, even spiritually, the next question becomes, how do we talk about this? How can we, as an industry, consistently communicate this value to the world? That's where the Pool Horizons messages come in. Pool Horizons' main messages are that being in and around water contributes to a better world and a better human experience. Swimming pools are fundamental components of individual and communal health and well-being. Swimming is an essential life skill. Swimming pools are a source of fun, enjoyment, and happy memories. To help communicate these messages clearly and consistently, we've shaped our narrative, the Pool Horizons narrative, around 4 interconnected pillars. These pillars don't stand alone. They overlap, reinforce each other, and reflect the full value that pools offer. They are health and well-being, water safety and education, sustainability, community and social impact, and community and social impact. These themes guide our research, our communication, and our storytelling. So, with these 4 pillars, and to bring them to life and to explore them in depth, Pool Horizons in 2024 set up 4 dedicated working groups, one for each theme. These were practical, collaborative spaces made up of experts from across the global swimming pool ecosystem: pool designers and builders, manufacturers, educators, health and safety professionals, architects, sustainability consultants, cultural leaders, and academics, all contributing their knowledge and perspectives. We were fortunate to have outstanding leadership in these groups. Each one was chaired by a respected industry voice. Ed Gibbs from Gibbs and Pools in Canada, Adam Kaczmarczyk of this parish, some of who you may know, Fernando Pozas from Acor in Mexico, and Bonnie Chong from Anthony and Sylvan in the USA. We also participated in the working groups, Sabina Hickman from the PhD and Rowdy Gaines also contributed their valuable insight and support. So throughout 2024, these working groups engaged in a deep multi-month process. They analysed case studies, shared data, and held cross-sector dialogues to identify current challenges and opportunities. The result, 4 comprehensive evidence-based reports. And here they are. Each report is a resource in its own right, packed with insights, examples, and actionable recommendations. Together, they form a shared vision, one where swimming pools are recognised as essential infrastructure for health, safety, sustainability, and community well-being. You can download the reports for free at poolhorizons.com, and I strongly encourage you to do so. Over the next few minutes, I'll take you through each of these reports as a set of practical, human-centred tools that can help share your work and our industry's future. So let's start with a theme that matters to all of us, health. Our first working group report is called Making a Splash. It shows how swimming pools can be champions, not just for physical health, but for mental and social well-being too. We all know instinctively, I think, that swimming is good for us. This report proves it, with hard data and examples from around the world. It shows that aquatic activity isn't just nice to have, it's essential, and it works in 3 powerful ways. First, physical health. Swimming, and when we say swimming, we use it as a sort of shorthand and a catch-all for all sorts of aquatic activity, is great preventative care and a proven form of therapy. Preventatively, it strengthens the heart, the lungs, muscles, and bones. It reduces the risk of chronic conditions, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, some cancers, and it helps with fitness and weight management. Therapeutically, water's buoyancy takes the strain off joints, making it perfect for rehab after injury, for stroke recovery, or for managing chronic pain. Aquatic therapy improves balance, mobility, range of motion, and strength in a safe, supportive environment. It's especially valuable for older adults, people with disabilities, and anyone managing long-term health conditions. Second, mental health. This might be the most underestimated benefit of swimming pools and swimming. Swimming improves sleep, lowers anxiety, and lifts mood. There's evidence it boosts memory, attention, and even promotes neural regeneration. For many, the pool is a sanctuary, a calming, restorative space. Whether it's mindfulness, stress relief, or therapy for depression or PTSD, water plays a quiet but vital role in improving mental health. And third, social health. Pools bring people together in classes, in casual swims, in shared spaces that reduce isolation and build community. People meet, connect, and support one another in low-pressure, inclusive environments. And here's the thing. You don't even have to get in the water to feel the benefits. Just being near water improves well-being. Now, a few standout stats from the report, which are on the screen. In England, a study from Swim England, which is the national body for swimming in England, a study of theirs said that swimming helped prevent over 78,000 cases of heart diseases and stroke in the country in 1 year. 78,000 cases. A study in Spain showed that aquatic therapy reduced joint stress by up to 75%. In the USA, veterans in aquatic therapy saw a 26% drop in their post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms. And innovation is also making a splash. In the UK, the Good Boost programme uses artificial intelligence to tailor aquatic therapy. The results? 45% report improved function, 38% less pain, and at a fraction of the cost of one-to-one care with a therapist. That's artificial intelligence using a screen in the pool. Of course, for many people, being in the pool is also a great way to get a break from screen time. And finally, the statistic that I want to talk about is, again, from England, and I think this one's very important, is the social value of swimming has been calculated as being 2.4 billion pounds. That's approximately 3 billion US dollars a year. And the social value of swimming has been calculated as 2.4 billion pounds, $3 billion. Closing a pool or not building a pool may save money in the short term, but it means a major cost to society in the long term. So to sum up this report, the first health report, let me quote Ed Gibbs, who wrote in his foreword, "My vision for the swimming pool industry is one where every pool is recognised as a well-being sanctuary, a hub for physical fitness, a haven for mental relaxation, and a space where individuals of all ages and abilities can thrive." That's the kind of thinking that can redefine what a swimming pool means, not just for our industry, but for society. The second Pool Horizons report is Safer Waters. It focuses on two closely linked issues, water competency and drowning prevention. And this isn't a niche concern, it's a global public health challenge. More than 300,000 people drown each year. That's one person every 2 minutes, making drowning the third leading cause of unintentional injury death worldwide. And the burden isn't shared equally. 92% of deaths occur in low and middle income countries. The most at-risk groups are young children under 5, teenagers, especially boys, and older adults in rural or underserved areas. Even in wealthier countries, indigenous and minority communities face higher drowning rates due to barriers in access, affordability, and a history of exclusion from swimming facilities. The causes are complex. Lack of swimming skills, poor supervision, alcohol or drug use, unsafe environments, medical emergencies, and too often no access to safe places to learn water skills. The hopeful news? Drowning is preventable, and momentum is building. The UN now marks World Drowning Prevention Day on the 25th of July. The World Health Organization released its 2024 Global Status Report on Drowning. And since 2014, global drowning rates have gone down by 70,000 people a year. And swimming pools are part of the solution. They offer safer, more controlled environments where people of all ages and abilities can learn to swim and gain true water confidence. And water competency isn't just a safety precaution, it's a life skill, like reading or riding a bike. It opens doors to recreation, water sports, careers in aquatics, and the simple confidence to enjoy being around water. Without it, we leave not just a safety gap, but an opportunity gap. Of course, pools do carry risks, especially for young children under 5, for whom home and backyard pools are a leading location for fatal accidents. That's why skills must be paired with constant supervision, physical barriers, such as fences, safety-focused design, and strong community education. Our industry has a vital role. Talk to customers about water competency, advocate for safety, support education programs, and design with safety in mind. In doing so, we can change how society values water skills. Swimming pools are places of joy, but they can also be places of transformation, where safety starts and lives are saved. As the World Health Organization reminds us, anyone can drown, no one should. So the third Pool Horizons report, Keep Swimming, tackles a reality we sometimes shy away from. Swimming pools use resources: water, energy, chemicals. The real question is, what do these resources deliver? The answer, as the report makes clear, is something meaningful: health benefits, life skills, recreation, and community cohesion. And for the people who use them, they matter deeply. Last summer, here in Barcelona, the local region faced a major drought. Reservoirs dropped to 16%. The government proposed closing all pools. The reaction was immediate and intense. Why? Because here, as in many places, pools are woven into community life. In towns and villages across Spain, summer revolves around the local pool. And that proposal, later reversed, of course, wasn't based on strong data. And that's another key finding in this report. In most countries, reliable data on pool resource use is scarce. Where it does exist, it shows pools often use far less water and energy than people assume. In fact, pools have become dramatically more sustainable over the past 2 decades. Advanced filtration and leak detection save thousands of litres of water. Pool covers reduce evaporation by up to 50%. LED lighting uses up to 80% less energy. And solar heating and modern pumps have cut energy use by as much as 80% in some countries. These aren't minor tweaks, they're major advances. And they benefit not just the planet, but also communities and families. Lower running costs keep public pools open and make private pools more affordable. Sustainability is also about social responsibility, thinking holistically about people, access, affordability, and climate. A truly sustainable pool works for its community now and in the future, something our industry is uniquely positioned to deliver through innovation, leadership, and a commitment to doing better. If we keep swimming in the right direction, pools can be not just efficient, but essential to community well-being. And the fourth and final Pool Horizons report is the ripple effect. It's about something also often overlooked: the powerful role swimming pools play in strengthening communities. Across cultures, continents, and centuries, water has always connected us. From the Roman baths of Europe to the sacred stepwells of India, from Turkish hammams and Finnish saunas to Japan's onsen, from the beaches of Brazil to the cliffs of Mexico, the surf of California and Australia, the lidos of Great Britain, and the public pools of Berlin. In Africa, rivers and lakes are sacred spaces and lifelines. In South America, thermal springs are valued for their healing properties. Water is one of the few truly universal spaces where people of all backgrounds come together to heal, belong, socialize, and restore balance. And in today's world, where social bonds are fraying and urban life can feel isolating, swimming pools can carry that tradition forward. The ripple effect report is clear. Pools aren't just places to swim, they are social infrastructure. They bring people together across generations, backgrounds, and abilities. Community can mean many things. It can mean your town, your street, your workplace, your cultural group, your friends, your family. From a child learning to float to a senior in a water aerobics class to a refugee finding a moment of peace, pools create shared spaces and shared meaning, where joy, healing, and connection aren't rare, they're normal. Economically, pools create jobs, support local businesses, from builders and maintenance crews to swimming schools, cafes, and hotels, and they can boost tourism and neighbourhood pride. Strategically, pools are finding their place in urban regeneration, in sustainable school and home design, and in inclusive development, where accessibility is built in from the start. This is our industry's opportunity to create social value, not as an afterthought, but by design. To create social value, not as an afterthought, but by design. To make pools the heart of healthy, connected, vibrant communities, whatever those communities may be. To prove our sector is essential to creation, resilience, equity, and social connection. Because water connects people to place and connects us to something greater. Across all 4 of these Pool Horizons reports, health to safety to community, one issue keeps surfacing. Not everyone has equal access to swimming pools. And if we're serious about pools being spaces for well-being, learning and connection, we have to look at what's holding people back. Sometimes it's as simple and as serious as geography. In many rural or underserved areas, there just isn't a pool nearby. If families have to drive an hour for a lesson or a safe swim, it stops being part of everyday life. It becomes a luxury. Even when pools are nearby, they're not always built for everyone. People with disabilities are too often excluded. No ramp, no lift, no zero entry access, no accessible changing space. The design says this place isn't for you, and many never come back. Then there are pools that are technically open but don't feel open. Poor maintenance, overcrowding, limited hours can make a space feel unwelcoming, especially for someone new to swimming or returning after years away. Cost is another barrier. Entry fees, swimming gear, transport, lessons, they add up. For many families, especially in low-income communities, the pool is simply out of reach. And when public options close or lose funding, the gap widens. Finally, there's a barrier you can't always see: culture and trust. For some, pools haven't been safe or welcoming places because of modesty concerns, language differences, past exclusion, or simply not seeing anyone like them in the water. These barriers are real, but they're not permanent. They can be solved, and solutions already exist. Starts with better design, accessibility as standard, not as an afterthought. It means looking after the pools we already have. No one feels welcome in a pool that's dirty, broken, or neglected. It means funding lessons, transport, and swimming gear. At a policy level, it means recognising pools as essential public infrastructure, funded, protected, and open to all. And it means thinking about who's in the water, because representation, language, and cultural relevance all matter. This work is already happening. Organisations like Diversity in Aquatics in the US and the Black Swimming Association in the UK are leading the way through research, community partnerships, culturally attuned programmes, and by training the next generation of aquatic leaders. They're proving inclusion is possible and redefining what it looks like. So one of the most powerful ways we've found to bring the pool horizons and messages and stories to life is through stories. Stories of projects from around the world that show what's possible when we think creatively, inclusively, and ambitiously about what swimming pools can be. I'll walk you through a handful of examples now, just to give you a flavour. And if any of these catch your interest, you can explore them in some more detail at poolhorizons.com, where we've created and curated videos, photos, and full case write-ups. We'll start with, in New York, a bold project you may well have heard about called Plus Pool, which is aiming to build a floating plus-shaped swimming pool right in the East River. It aims to use a chemical-free filtration system to clean over 1 million gallons of water, river water, every day, and reconnecting New Yorkers with their urban waterfront. Just last week, as you may have seen, the first pilot shell was floated in the river. The team also runs swimming advocacy and education programs across the city. Well, that was Plus Pool. In Paris, the city-led initiative Nager à Paris is expanding access to swimming and aquatic activity as part of the legacy of the Olympic Games. That includes measurable targets for pool access per inhabitant, which I think is very important. Measurable targets for pool access per inhabitant, a focus on equity and public health, and the recent reopening of river swimming in the Seine, which you may have seen in the news. In Philadelphia, the pool exhibition brought together architects, historians, and artists to explore the social and emotional meaning of swimming pools, how they shape identity, memory, and community. Completely differently. In the UK, Abbeycroft Leisure has integrated artificial intelligence-based safety tech into its swimming pools, using real-time alerts and motion analysis to enhance swimmer protection. Meanwhile, in Guanyama Park in Sydney, Australia, they have redefined inclusive design. A new pool with aqua wheelchairs, ramped access, and a wide range of facilities designed for people of all abilities. In Mexico City, the Centro Deportivo Coyoacán uses solar thermal and photovoltaic systems to cut its pool-related carbon emissions by 50% and reduce gas use by 80%, setting a benchmark in the region for how renewables can reshape pool operations. Here in Barcelona, at San Joan de Déu Hospital, water-based activity is used as a part of therapy, especially for young people's mental health. The pool isn't just for rehab, but for self-esteem, emotional balance, and social inclusion. And in Malaysia, a government and community-led initiative designs modular pools and delivers water safety education in high-risk rural zones, directly reducing drowning rates and improving aquatic access. So around the world, these stories prove that swimming pools can be at the heart of resilient, inclusive, and sustainable communities. They're not just ideas, they're happening. Let's look at a few more stories in a bit more detail, beginning with a project that's simple, scalable, and saving lives. In South Africa, around 1,500 people drown every year. Only 15% of the population knows how to swim. In many communities, there are no public pools, no swimming lessons, and no water safety education. But the National Sea Rescue Institute, the NSRI, decided to change that with a bold and practical idea. They took a 12-meter shipping container, 12 meters is 40 foot, turned it into a fully functional swimming pool and created a program called the Survival Swimming Centres. These container pools are designed to be placed in schoolyards, in villages, communities that would otherwise have no access to pools at all. With the help of local skilled instructors, children learn the 4 essential survival skills. As one school principal put it, our children used to wander unsupervised and swim in farm dams. Now they're learning how to swim. And as the NSRI's Andrew Ingram said, by introducing a culture of swimming and a sense of worth and pride, we can build incredible communities. But there's something else that makes the project special. It was built through collaboration by an ecosystem of companies from across the swimming pool industry who came together to pool, if you'll excuse the pun, their expertise, equipment, and resources. And it's a reminder to all of us that even modest-sized pools, placed in the right hands, can have an extraordinary impact. Let's turn to Australia, which defines itself as a swimming nation and where water is a way of life. With over 288 drowning deaths a year, nearly a quarter of those are people born overseas, often from refugee or migrant backgrounds, many of whom have never learned to swim. In response, Lifesaving Victoria, LSV, based in Melbourne, created a program with a simple aim: help newly arrived communities gain water competency in a country where water is everywhere, in the culture, the environment, the lifestyle. But it quickly became something more. Today, LSV's program supports social integration, economic empowerment, and community connection. Since 2007, over 250,000 people have taken part in the water safety activities, and many have gone on to become swimming teachers, lifeguards, surf lifesavers, and pool managers. A study by La Trobe University found that for every $1 invested, the program delivers nearly $15 in social value. One participant, Ramzi Hussaini, if you have a look at the video, he features in the video, said, "When I arrived in Australia, I didn't have any sense of belonging. I didn't know what I was doing. The water has given me a pathway. If I hadn't learned to swim, I don't know where I'd be now." Swimming as a pathway to belonging, opportunity, and a safer future. Our next story comes from the southwest of England, and it's a brilliant example of how thinking differently can lead to real practical change. In the town of Exmouth, as in many places, energy prices are rising and public swimming pools are under threat. Since 2010, over 380 public pools have closed across the UK, many due to unsustainable costs. Exmouth Leisure Centre found an innovative solution. They partnered with a tech company called Deep Green to heat their swimming pool using waste heat from a data centre. Here's how it works. Data centres generate huge amounts of heat, most of which is usually lost into the atmosphere. According to some estimates, up to 97% of that heat. Deep Green installed a small data centre, like the one you can see in the picture, inside the leisure centre itself. By the way, data centres don't have to be the size of half the size of Manhattan, as some of the biggest ones that are being built at the moment are. They can be this size or even smaller. That data center now powers computing tasks for local businesses. The water from the pool cools the data center, and the heat from the data center warms the water in the pool. How good is that? The result is lower energy bills, reduced carbon emissions, and a swimming pool that's more sustainable, more affordable, and still open to the community. As Deep Green CEO Mark Bjornsgaard says, the future is heating every swimming pool for free with data centers. That's incredibly exciting. And so we come to our final story, which brings us to the USA, to Eatonville in Florida, a town with a deep history, a proud community, and a powerful reminder of what a swimming pool can mean. Eatonville is the oldest Black incorporated municipality in the US, founded in 1887 by freedmen after emancipation. But, like many towns, Eatonville's community pool had fallen into disrepair. It was closed for nearly a decade. What happened next, the story of its revival, is told best by the people who brought it back to life. Let's watch.
After the Emancipation Proclamation, enslaved people were freed. They made their way here, and they were able to purchase their own land, finally. They had a place to settle, but there were other freedmen out and about in the United States after the Emancipation Proclamation that didn't have a place to go. So Eatonville became the welcome center for them. Having a pool in the space that you have now settled kind of does that same thing. It becomes a gathering place, and it's almost a memorial to where they started.
3, 2, 1.
When I became mayor in 2022, the pool was green, and it was an eyesore. But remember, the way it started was a gathering space. And when you think about a dying pool, you're almost making that synonymous with a dying community. And for me, reviving the pool would also be reviving the community.
The mayor of Eatonville was being interviewed on television, and she was pleading for the community to jump in and assist. 2 years probably, and so no progress, the pool's still closed. And then a couple of months later, I saw the same interview, again, the same situation, just no motion forward. So we just decided to get involved at that point.
This is a working community, and it's a working community, and some people live paycheck to paycheck. So they really don't have funds to go out and do all the traveling and all the extravagant vacations. But going to the pool, as a child, that's virtually free, and you have just as much fun, and you build just as many memories.
When we started ordering things for the pool, and our pool community realized what we were doing, and that we had decided to completely refurbish the pool and get it back up and running, they all started donating. We literally took the pool down to the original shell. We corrected all of the plumbing underground. We gutted the pump room. What you see there now is a modern, updated pool with modern filtration, modern pumps, salt systems, and it's a very beautiful outcome.
The Eatonville pool is one of the social staples in this community, and it does just that. It is a magnet for the community members to come together, have fun, enjoy their life. The day of the opening, the children's faces, not just the children, the adults who remembered when they were a child at that pool. And they now call it the Eatonville Resort. It makes me very happy, very pleased, and it helps me know that I'm keeping a promise, one of the promises that I made to do better when I came into office.
The simple fact that there's so many closed down pools, there's so many dilapidated pools, not even just for in the community and homes around the country. I just think that we have the power to get involved and fix them.
I always get emotional when I see that video. So we've travelled from South Africa to Australia, from the English coast to the heart of Florida. We've seen how swimming and swimming pools can save lives, foster belonging, spark innovation, and bring entire communities back to life. These are inspiring stories, showing what's possible when we think differently, act collaboratively, and believe in the social value of what we build. And now, we'd love to invite you to be part of that vision. Pool Horizons is not just a platform, it's a community. It's a space for connection, collaboration, and change. So if you'd like to get involved, the first step is simple. Visit poolhorizons.com, which you can do by clicking on this QR code. There you'll find the full working group reports, which are rich in data, examples, and recommendations, a growing library of case studies and best-in-class projects, lots of videos like the ones you've just seen, and a chance to sign up for the newsletter, which drops every few weeks with interviews, insights, and updates from around the world. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, where we post stories, highlights, and fresh thinking from the pool ecosystem. If something resonates with you, please like and share it. Let's make sure these ideas reach more people. And if you know of a project, a person, or a pool that deserves a spotlight, please tell us. We're always looking to document and amplify more stories. Finally, Pool Horizons hosts in-person summits, opportunities to connect, reflect, and reimagine the future of our industry together. Our next summit will be in Barcelona on the 17th of November this year, and then we'll meet again in Atlantic City on the 26th of January 2026, alongside the NESPA Pool and Spa Show. So if you'd like to join us at either of those summits, please just send us a note. We'd love to see you there. And so we're almost at the end. This is where things get practical. Because everything we talked about today, research, stories, possibilities, only makes a difference if it inspires action. So here's the question. What can you do, starting today, to put these ideas into motion? First, shift the narrative. In your conversations with customers, in your brochures, in your social media, start talking about what swimming pools make possible. Position pools not just as products or projects, but as platforms for well-being, safety, fun, and community. And while we're on the subject of marketing, let's be honest, how many pool photos do you see that forget the most important ingredient? People. Let's show pools being used, enjoyed, shared. Let's make the human impact visible. The second thing you can do is bring Pool Horizons thinking into your day-to-day work. Whether you design, build, manage, manufacture, sell, whatever you do, keep accessibility, inclusion, sustainability, and safety in mind. These aren't just checkboxes, they're business value. They're long-term relevance. They're what makes our work future-proof. Third, educate and advocate. Speak to homeowners, schools, health providers, developers, public officials. Use those conversations. Help others see that pools are health infrastructure. They're environments where swimming is taught as a life skill. They're spaces that can connect, protect, and uplift communities. Because ultimately, the future of the swimming pool industry isn't just about pumps and plumbing. It's about purpose. And Pool Horizons is here to support you with resources, insights, and a shared mission. Together, we can tell a more powerful story about why swimming pools matter. Thank you.
Chris, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm just going to remind attendees, if you have any questions for Chris, please feel free to put them in the chat or the question and answer tool at the bottom, and we'll get to as many attendee questions as we can with our time remaining. Chris, there's 2 points that I want to bring up. And I was fortunate enough, as you mentioned, I served as one of the working group chairs for Safer Waters with my dear friend and colleague, Sabina Hickman. And there were two things that, personally came across for me as, key learnings. And it were things that I already knew, but, seeing it come to light was really amazing. One, so many times in this industry, and both in the US and globally, sometimes we're looked upon as competitors with each other in the industry. And I think what was so fantastic, as a first step with Pool Horizons was there were competitors in business coming together to say we need to move the industry forward into the future and we need to have unified messaging. So, can you just talk a little bit about that from your, vantage point of what that's been like to have multiple different industry partners come together to work on this project?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, in the way that competitors or just people who don't talk to each other at all, who maybe should be talking to each other, the swimming pool industry and the swimming school industry, for example, have so much to talk to each other about, and they do to a certain extent. And in some countries, obviously, it's much better than in other parts of the world. But there's so many players within the swimming ecosystem, not the swimming pool ecosystem, the swimming ecosystem, which can be life-saving. It can be swimming schools. It can be all of those players who, yeah, have been in their silos a little bit, maybe historically. And it's something I've really enjoyed over the last couple of years is those conversations I've had when you put people in touch with a manufacturer, with a local swimming school, etc., etc. And I think that's, as you say, it's one of the great things about Pool Horizons is getting all these different players to talk to each other, and also talking about globally, what people can learn from one country to another country. Things that are happening in Australia, for example, which is in many ways a benchmark for swimming pools and swimming. They call themselves a swimming nation, as I mentioned. People can learn a lot from Australia, but people can also learn a lot from Malaysia, where I was recently, or a lot from Mexico, or a lot from all sorts of places. Again, we get sort of fixed in our own little world and our own day-to-day business, which is understandable. It's what happens. But it's that chance, Pool Horizons, maybe to look around a bit and see what else is going on and to learn from others. I think is very valuable.
Well, and that's the other point that I was going to make, Chris, and I'm glad you already picked up on it, is we are one global pool and spa, pool and hot tub industry. And I think sometimes we do look at it. I've been guilty of this is, oh, that country's so much different than us. What can we learn from them? Or how could we potentially collaborate with each other? And, I'll share just a personal experience in going through the working group process for Pool Horizons. I don't know if you'll remember this, Chris, but as we were talking in the Safer Waters group about the importance of swimming pools from a global perspective in the water safety picture. And there was a little bit of a disconnect from my US colleagues to some of our global colleagues because, as you pointed out in the presentation, a lot of incidents happen around backyard pools, especially in the United States. And it was interesting as we got into a dialogue because I remember oh, I can't remember. I think it was David from the United Kingdom said you have to look at this slightly differently. For low income countries that don't have accessible, safe water to be able to teach swimming to their populace, they are going into natural water environments to conduct those lessons, which is inherently more dangerous than the controlled environment of a swimming pool. And that I'll always remember that moment because it really opened my eyes to go, this can be something that, in one country where we have to really prioritize certain safety features and certain safety discussions, but in other areas in the world, these swimming pools are so critically important to advancing water safety to the populace. So it can be one unified message globally, and it can still mean that we have our unique features in our home countries.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the last couple of years. Another thing I found out is the swimming ecosystem is so different in different countries. I mean, it can be within Europe, in the UK where it rains all the time, and in Spain where it's sunny all the time. Swimming pools are all indoors in the UK and all outdoors in Spain. Not all, obviously, but that's just a major difference. But going back to the water safety thing in Malaysia, as I say, where I was recently, swimming is still seen as a competitive sport.
Mhm.
And they're still working on that thing of no, everyone needs to learn to swim. It's a life skill. It's water competency is something that makes your life better. Uh, it improves your life. You can do so much, so many things with swimming, and it can also help save your life, which is very important. But that idea of get in the pool, not just to, you don't have to be the best. Just get in the pool, learn to float, and then learn to swim. Which in places like in many places in Asia, that's still something they're working on. And Malaysia is quite far within Asia. Malaysia is quite far ahead of that compared with other countries, maybe like India or Bangladesh, where it really is about very basic life-saving skills.
Yeah. And Chris, my, I guess, final point that I want to pick up on is the community connection points, because I think that is a global message for, for pools. Whether you're in an urban area, a rural area here in the United States, or even globally, swimming pools, when they are existing in communities, they are community gathering places, and so many magical things can come from that. And I will say, when I first approached Pool Horizons as a working group chair, I was a little bit, I don't want to say concerned, but how are we going to create these global unified messages about the importance of swimming pools and how they benefit society? And through those discussions, I'll even say the community coming together in the swimming pool and spa and hot tub industry to have these discussions. I think that was one of the biggest things that, I recognized are these community gathering spots. Sure, swim lessons, competitive swim, recreational, the health benefits, all the pieces are there, but just bringing the community together for that, safe recreational environment is so critically needed.
Yeah, of these four reports, I don't know if you could see them when I held them up. You couldn't see it, can you now? Okay, because of the background, it's blue. Anyway, of the four reports, the community one, um, in a way, is the most important. The other reports are covered in other areas, no, but the fundamental core of Pool Horizons is that community is so important, and pools are so important to communities. And as I said when I was talking, you can define community in so many ways. I mean, within the community group, we did actually spend probably too much time trying to define what we meant by community. Um, but it can be so many things. It can be just your family. But that's a community, of course it is. Because another thing that we talked about was how much of this applies to public pools and how much of it applies to private pools. And it applies to all kinds of pools. It's not just public, and it's not just private. Um, the health thing is exactly the same in a private pool as it is in a public pool. But the community thing is so important in whatever kind of community it can be. And it can be, as I said, your family and friends, your neighborhood, your street, your town, the whole neighborhood. As I was mentioning in Spain, in small towns in the summer, it's where life takes place. The town pool, the village pool, every town in Spain, most towns in Spain have an outdoor pool in summer, and it's where life takes place. People get to know each other, friendships are made, kids get to know each other, they have fun. They look back on that, they remember that when they're older. Friendships they still have 20 years later, and it's all coming from the swimming pool, and that sort of thing is so important.
Yeah. I want to share a quick example. Step Into Swim, a program that the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance operates funding swim lessons. We partnered with a local foundation in San Diego earlier this summer, and we hosted a press conference with Rowdy Gaines and really trying to bring attention to the fact that, the importance of swimming lessons. And San Diego, to me, is a really unique community as far as its public pools go. They have, the YMCA network that has, 15 facilities with swimming pools, but then the city of San Diego operates 15 outdoor swimming pools year round. And we did the event at one of their smallest pools, the Colina del Sol pool. And we selected that location specifically because it was a community of concern within San Diego, and they wanted to really focus on the need for community building around that pool. And, during our event, we invited the community to come out, and it really was a melting pot for the community to come together. And, it was a very diverse community, and seeing different races, different cultures interacting in a recreational way around a swimming pool. I just it made me think when you were explaining that of that example and just how meaningful those small things can be to those communities.
Yeah, or look at the Eatonville video.
Yeah.
I wasn't fortunate enough to go to the opening day, but two of my colleagues were. And they just said that the feeling of joy and enjoyment was fantastic to share with the people in Eatonville.
Yeah. Chris, I just want to give a call out again, poolhorizons.com. If you have any questions, you see the email on the screen, please reach out. This is such an important initiative globally for the swimming pool, hot tub, and spa industry. Please go read the reports. I know a lot of work went into creating these beautiful reports, and I know there's a lot of things that our community and industry can make use of these reports and helping to really deliver a message of the importance of swimming pools and how they matter to society. Chris, thank you for being with us. One last plug that I want to give is if you do have the opportunity to visit the Pool Horizon Summits, whether it be in Barcelona at the end of this year or Atlantic City in conjunction with the Pool and Spa show by NESPA. Really great opportunities, not just to learn more about Pool Horizons, but to really interact with the global pool and spa community in these discussions. Thank you so much for being with us, Chris. Just a few reminders before we depart. Our Mastermind Summit is coming up here soon, September 23rd to the 25th in Fort Lauderdale. Not only a great conference program, but we do have plenty of Genesis education on offering, as well as our CPO instructor school. It's worth going to phta.org, checking out the Mastermind event, and making your plans to be there. There's still time to register. We also have our Genesis Roadshow kicking off again in November. C281 will be offered at BioLab in Atlanta and E211 with Pentair in North Carolina. Both, again, those happening in November. Next week's Wednesday webinar, again kicking off at noon Eastern on Wednesday, we will have our WAVE webinar, Building and Optimizing Your Digital Presence. And then following on August 27th, Handling Hard to Please Customers, always important for our retail industry members. And then on September 3rd, we'll have the PHTA Service Council joining us for a focused approach to swimming pool route management. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris, Diana, as always, for helping set up our webinars. And for those of you joining at home, we look forward to seeing you next week. Stay safe until then.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
so
Take
much.
care.